All righty. Welcome, guys. How you doing? My name is Francisco. I'm here with one of our players, Val. And then today we're going to go over the breakdown. We are going to be breaking down every match with different player. And today, Val is the lucky lady.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it. We'll do it. So we're just going to go watch the race. We're going to talk about thoughts as a coach, what I was thinking, and the same thing. Val just gives her feedback as a player. And yeah, so it's just kind of breaking down a little bit of what goes through our heads while we have on this match, or strategies and different things that are going to come up. All right. Without further ado, we'll get started. So this is match one. We are playing against the Aces, which are the 2023 champs. So super nervous because they're always practice. They're very good players. Always on point. At that point, our team have not had a practice. So a lot of players met that same day at the match. So as a coach, I was very nervous. My first time coaching, not a player, which is a whole different show just for that. So yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm about to hit play. I'm actually going to mute here so we can kind of talk over it.
Cool.
Yeah, so Chappie's usually our player that always starts on partner forward. He has for the past 2 years. Super quick, super fast. What do you think about this race, Val?
This is usually one of our stronger races, so I think we typically go into it with a lot of confidence. I don't know if we fully did that this time. One, like you were saying, just going against the Aces. They're the reigning champs. They're a super cohesive team. And this race involves a lot of like communication and trust in your partner and the person that you're kind of going back and forth with. So obviously, like, Sammy and Nick have that very well. Whenever you and I did that together, like you and I had that very well. But we had Derek, who got hurt kind of like last minute, and then Gio had to step in, and he's a rookie, like fresh into it and going into his first race. And this is one of those races that this in mirror involves almost the most communication, and takes like the longest to learn to do really smoothly. I think he crushed it coming into it, but definitely a lot of nerves and not really knowing what to expect coming into it, because it's usually one of our stronger races.
Yep.
But obviously, like, we had a lot of things like not in our favor there.
Yeah, and also normally what we take advantage is Chappie super fast, super quick, and then but they started with less reps. Normally we take advantage of the lower weight, more reps, because he can give us an advantage towards the quadrant 3 and 4. But anyway, we'll talk about that here in a second. What I want to point out, and that's why I stopped it, is we in here, you can see that the jump ropes, we did about an extra rep every single time. I didn't even on the first quadrant, the second quadrant. So if you click, the judge never counted that first rep.
Nope.
On the ropes. So he went
about two or three at any point.
5, 6. Yeah, and it was supposed to be 5, and then that's like, no, you want one more. It's like, no. So
yeah,
then
so
it's happened again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so
7,
that by itself took us out of the race pretty much, because the Aces, I mean, we knew coming in, this was a barbell partner forward, and we know that the Aces can move a barbell like no other.
Yeah, really good barbell movers.
Yeah, and I thought Taylor was going to do the quadrant 3 and 4, but then Jasmine came in and she actually killed it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything we did or could have done super differently. It's just that, like, losing that time hurt us. Like, we could have kept it much closer, and then it could have been kind of like anyone's race. But then as soon as that happened, you lose that time on the transitions.
Yeah. And then Guillo, obviously, he's rookie, our only rookie in our team, doesn't speak the language. So he was not able to communicate with you at all. The good thing he did ask a lot of questions. I mean, he asked me so many questions about why I do this, when I do that, and when do I move, and when do I start. And I still think he did well, but I think we can improve on his transitions. They were a little slower.
For sure.
And
For
I
sure.
even think that you were like, move. And one of them. I was like, oh, calm down.
I don't remember doing that, but I
don't
do
know.
believe you because that sounds like something I would do. But I got
I think on
excited.
this one right here, you see how he's like,
Yeah.
no, let me see. Maybe it was on this one. Like he should already be like going. Yeah. But anyways, Aces obviously smashed that race. I had a feeling coming into this match that they were going to, because they can move the barbells really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But
and their judges can count reps.
That's true. We normally do not start the races with a loss. We are very good at partner forward, so that was a little, I got a little more scared in there.
Yeah, I did too. Honestly, I was kind of nervous of how that would set the tone for the rest of the match, especially then going into Mirror, which is not one of our strongest races and one that we fully expected to lose to the Aces. So we were like, oh, we're gonna start this off with two in a row.
Yep. So we'll go into our next race, which is Mirror, and I'm about to start it in there. So like Val's saying, Mirror is usually not one of our strong suit, and this one was a back squat, 10 back squat per quadrant, male and female. The weight for the males were 315. The weight for the female, what was it?
210.
210.
Yeah.
Again, coming in as a coach and going against the Aces, which are one of the strongest teams in the league, I was gonna assume that we were gonna lose this one. I told everybody, keep it moving, don't miss your transitions, just keep it smooth, and we'll see what happens at the end. We have to make sure they make a mistake for us to win more than likely, and it actually happened. So, so that's what that was the goal. Herc, you can see him doing now. He didn't know he was gonna play until like a couple of days before.
Yeah.
Because that again, I would talk about Derek. He was gonna be playing, but he then got hurt. So he stepped up big, and that's just again props to him and even Shaquem too, that stepped up big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was what I was like. That weight felt really heavy, I guess, after all those thrusters that you did on partner forward.
I didn't really notice it at the time. I think the last maybe like one or two felt a little bit harder than it had in practice. But nothing of this really hits me until like the night of, when the match is all over and like everything's kind of like come down and I'm like, oh, now my body hurts really bad. But usually like in the match, I'm like, I'm fine. I can do more.
Yeah. I think all the players are the same way. Very few, rarely. And that's one of the things that as a coach and as a player, because I'm a player, I'm going to tell you always that I'm good to go. But then I can tell, like, no, you've been doing a lot. Let's start somebody else. Do something else. But
I think the only time I ever didn't do that was last year during the playoffs after that triad. And they were like, we're going to rerun it. And I was like, I'm not doing it.
So then after that, I'm just going to kind of move it in here. After that, we have the ringer. That it was Jessie doing the ringer. So she called her shot. She was like, this is my race. I want it from the beginning. Let me have it. And then, I was super confident in her, all that stuff. But then once it started, I got scared. Like you can see right here, Jasmine came out of nowhere, like flying on her hands, and I was
fast.
like, oh my gosh.
I knew Jessie was really fast on her hands too. Like she runs, she takes those quick steps. And so I was like, she'll get a little bit of a lead. And Jasmine came out hot. And I was like, oh no.
I was so pumped there, obviously. And this race is kind of deceiving because you have practiced it. I know you have practiced this as well. And you can handstand walk very well, and you can clean and jerk that weight too. But the combination of it, I know that it's actually, we talked about it really frustrates you because you cannot do it.
because I want to be good at this race so bad because it's two things that I should be able to do really well. And putting them together is so hard. One, just because like Jesse's way stronger than me. So like that 205 is way too close to my 1 rep to be able to come from upside down and like hit it super comfortably. So like the fact that her power clean is probably like 245, 250 or more, like that's way different than that 205 being like so close to my 1 rep power clean. So it pays to be really fucking strong.
It really does. Like I said, I was very like super confident going in. I was like, Jesse, nobody's gonna beat her at this. And then once Jasmine started walking, handstand walking, I'm like, oh. But you have to put it together. That was a huge swing because Jasmine didn't finish within the 20%. On the race, so we actually took 2 points and they took 0. So it was a huge boost for our team at that point. So she called it a shot, and you got it. So we'll start here our next race. So we went over partner forward, mirror, and if you're kind of new to grid, that's usually how it goes. We got partner forward, mirror, then there's a ringer, and then the race, the next race, echo. So the echo, you have 2 races, the same movement. So you go through the race once, there's a 30-second rest, and then you do it all over again. That's why it's called echo. This is a new movement, this wall over the burp or the sandbag over the wall. Ladies went under it, guys went over it. Tell me what you were thinking about. Do you like this movement?
No, I was like, this bag is so stupid and it's so awkward. And because like I've practiced with like a D-ball, and I'm like, okay, yeah, D-ball, clean to the shoulder, like push press it over, it's fine. That thing was like a worm. I like went to push it over, and then it like flopped back in my face, and then went to push it, and then the whole thing wouldn't go over. And that got so annoying after a while. So once again, pays to be stronger and taller on that one.
Yeah, on that one.
So
and Sydney is like, Sydney's like 5'10".
Yeah, 5'9" or 5'10", something like that.
10.
So she's got a couple inches on me. That helps a ton.
It helps a ton in there.
She went out and she was going, and I was like, I'm not going back in. Keep going.
So she finished the rep here, and then we got Q doing her aerials, which there were all no reps in here. And as a Q old fashioned, he got super mad about it. And to his defense, he's and the way that I like Q, and this is why he's been so good as a bodyweight specialist. He's like, when I say he's like innovates, meaning like he tries to figure out a way to make things faster. So he came up with that aerial. I'm pronouncing it right or wrong, but anyways, he came up with that, and he asked me, he's like, hey, do you think this is good? So he showed it to me. I was like, I don't know, let me ask. So I asked, Matter. He's like, that's if you go ask the head judge. And then I went in, showed the head judge the video, then Q even demo it right in front of him. And he was like, okay, that's good. And then once the race started, he did it, and then he wasn't. So that's why he got so mad.
And like that is super frustrating, because if there's a like certain written out standard where it's like, your feet have to be over your hips or whatever, head over your hips, then like that wasn't in the standard. But if you demoed it and you like got it clear and they're like, that's fine, and it like that's frustrating, especially because a lot of what other people were doing also were not aerials. They were different forms of flips, but they were not aerials.
And then he's obviously Q is one of the best on the rings. So he got in his head, and then you saw what happened on the rings. I mean,
for sure.
And then he's like, I got dizzy and I was disoriented and mad. So it was kind of a little combination of everything. So he was only supposed to do 4, and then I think he ended up doing like 6 or 7 flips. So he kind of screwed him up. The good thing is, like, badass thing on our team is that we have David Blatt as the backup. Like, come on.
Having 2 of them is such a game changer.
So he came in, and originally, and this is just for a coaching standpoint, I'll stop it here for a second. Coaching standpoint, originally I was not going to have David on the echoes. I was going to save him for something else or later on the race. But then I was like, I cannot lose the echoes against the aces. I have to win both. Like my goal is like, I'm okay losing partner forward. I'm okay losing mirror. I cannot lose the echoes.
Yeah.
So that's why we have both of them in there, because for that same reason, you go back up, we'll use them, things like that. Didn't work out that way. We actually won the mirror, which is perfect. Then lost the first echo. But anyways, that's one of the things. And I'm so glad I made that decision to put him there or have him as a backup.
Yeah, that was a really, really good call.
So now here we start a second echo, and I'll start a little ahead. But on the second echo, I realized, as I watched the match prior to ours, I saw that the ladies were the fastest usually. So remember, our game plan was I think you ladies do 2, Chappie does 1, or the guy does 1. I think that was our game plan. Once in here, it's actually funny because I usually don't listen to the public or anything like that. But at that point, Blake from the WoW was like, Fico, let Chappie go. And I don't know why I
heard
that. Yeah, I heard it. And then I was like, all right.
He's loud.
Chappie I was like, Chappie, just go. Because he was going so much faster.
Yeah.
Than pretty much everybody. He was just flying.
Yeah, he was cruising.
Yeah. And that was like a game, and that's why you look a little lost. Like, what's going on?
I was like, what's happening? I was like, it's fine. Just keep going.
But it's because I was like, just keep going, man. Yeah. Then Q, old fashioned. He's like,
does that count?
Like, good rep. Good rep. You gotta love Q.
Oh my gosh.
And then obviously we smashed Sammy is so good at the aerials.
Yeah,
David. We made the decision to then use David on the rings in here.
Yeah, and then fresh, not dizzy, crushed him, like super smooth, super fast.
And then in here we have Jesse going with the push leg. And this was the game plan for the first echo, but obviously.
Yeah.
Then go, and then we had Guido pushing or pulling the sled.
Yeah.
And then I wish I could do the volume and I had a mic, and actually it wasn't working, so we didn't turn it on. So
you guys are so old.
I wish you could have the recording of me screaming to Guido here, because I was going crazy in Spanish. Like I was just going like Dale, go, Zumba, like all in Spanish, just going nuts.
And he loves it. He feeds right into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was so smooth.
Yeah. It was one of my biggest worries. Like I don't know Guido very well, but I seen him compete, and I know he's a badass athlete and all that stuff. But my biggest concern was how he's gonna be able to communicate with you guys and be able to adapt and change and game planning and things like that. And he picked it up and did really, really well.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about a bunch before, is just different people that are like either gamers or not, and then gamers in different ways where some people need a lot of verbal direction, some people can just pick up on things and be super intuitive, but he's super reactive and in a good way, in terms of he's paying attention, and like you said, that comes from asking a lot of questions and just knowing what's going on.
Yeah, at some point, and obviously this is not, but you think he's asking too many questions, and I'm like, no, but he needs to, he needs to. He asked the day before, we were at the Airbnb, and we moved chairs around, and he was like, so what do I do here, and things like that, going through it. The day of the match, he asked. He then, once the match was going right before the race, he asked so what do I do again? So all that obviously playing to him playing very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he kept not only asking me, but he's also at Concepcion as well.
Yeah.
So the next race. So at this point, We lost partner forward. We won mirror. We lost echo one. Oh, sorry. We won ringer. We lost echo one. We won echo two. So the race is still obviously anybody's ball game at this point.
Yeah.
And then going into ladder, which is we are very good at ladder. Last year we were very good, but so is the aces.
So are the aces, yeah.
You could go this race. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I can start the race.
Especially because this ladder was so, one, it was new, so we didn't know like how their team historically had done on it or anything like that, or how their players had done. And two, it was just like different and weird. It was hard to predict like how people were going to do, because people that normally clear ladders like weren't clearing ladders.
Like if you would have like technique like Olympic lift, very good. This wouldn't help because this is pure strength. Like the push press made a good changer. I'll talk about a few more things, but Breezy is kind of cool. Every time, at least from the past couple of years, every time Breezy has started the ladder, we have won.
Yeah.
Last year, we only lost a ladder, and that was when she was not on the plane because, she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyways, selfish. Yeah. On this one, again, Herc stepped up big time. Moved it super fast, and I told him, "Hey, go for bar 4, but if you're gonna fail quick." And he did it perfectly. Like, it's fine. You fail quick, get out. I'm happy the way that he performed those bars, like super fast, super good.
Especially because his third bar flew up. Like if like watching that, I'd be like, he's got a shot at the fourth bar. Like, try it, see what happens.
Like, I bet if I would have given him a little bit or like take a little break, he probably could have gotten it. But he did exactly what I told him to do, and that's all I can ask.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna fail quick and get out.
Yep.
We were relying on our ladies to win this.
Per usual.
So normally our ladders go Ant starts, and then Derek. We did not have neither one of them on this ladder. And those are the two best strength specialists that we have. Both were hurt. So, again, Chakeem and Herc stepped up big time. Same thing with Chakeem. It's like, if you're going to fail quick. Yep. He also did the same thing. Again, I was happy with all that.
Yeah.
And I think here comes Jesse. I think this is the most impressive ladder. Maybe not on the day, but at least from our team for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, flew through it so easy.
Yep. This ladder was so unpredictable. Like I obviously we don't have like on the floor. I don't have the counters, so like they're doing it here. It's so much easier seeing it this way.
Right.
Like, I thought we were way behind.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was like
And then Guido came up huge on this lift right here.
Yeah. They get through people so much faster than we do too. So I was like, oh my God, they've had so many more people go than us. But we also had our first 3 ladies clear it. So that makes a big difference.
Correct. Yep.
And I was the first lady that didn't. And that was embarrassing.
Well, we game planned it. We kind of knew.
Yeah, I know.
And talk to us about it, because you told me a little bit of what happened in here. So tell me what happened.
Yeah, I don't have too much of an explanation. I told you like my game plan was 3, but I'd hit 190. I think our last bar was 185 or 190, something like that, or whatever it was. But I hit 195 back in the warm-up area, and it flew up. So I was like, hey, if the third bar feels good, I'm gonna go for it. And you were like, okay. And the third bar felt really good, and I was like, hell yeah. And then I went to the fourth bar, and I power cleaned it, and it hit me like a train. And I caught that in my front rack, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
So if we would not have won this ladder, I would have felt really bad. I would have definitely taken that as my fault, because then David didn't have like those last couple of seconds to get his lift in. So if we would have lost this, I would have just died.
Yeah.
But we didn't, so it's okay.
Yeah, so David bar didn't count. He didn't finish the lift before the time ran out. So we still got 71 points, which at that point I didn't have no idea. I thought we lost the race, but I was so happy. Like I told everybody, before that, I was like, our goal was to get to David. If we get to David, we're done our job, and
Yep.
nobody really missed any bars or anything like that. I was like, well, let's make sure we get to David, and then if that happens, we're good. So I did not care if we won or lose or whatever. I was happy at that point. And then when I realized somebody told me, it's like, well, you guys won. I'm like, nah, like, let's just wait for the announcement. You don't know how to do
math.
math.
Right. Like, I'm not going to get excited because you told me that.
I don't trust your math. And then, I was very surprised, extremely proud of everybody, how the way they perform and things like that. So, yeah, super, super, super proud. So next race after ladder, we have our ringer. So it's actually the ringer. So on this race, we were the home team. So we picked the first ringer. So like I said, Jessie called her shot. I was like, I picked Jessie to do that ringer. This one is the away team ringer. So it was picked by the aces. So in theory, it's something that they will win or, very rarely will lose. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very good at it. So let's go in there. Yeah, so we had Sydney, which she also was like, oh, I'm once I put that the race, like they picked this, she was like one of the first ones to say, hey, let me do it. It was between her and Breezy because I thought they were the best two that will be do at it. Like we have no guys that really be that fast, and she's killed it. Like I thought he started really fast, and then she slowly kind of get faster as she go, and then kind of passed him through like the middle of the third quadrant. And yeah, so it was super close. One of the best races of the day.
I remember her talking about it afterwards, and she like picked them up. She was like, I thought they were going to be heavier, and then I got going. She was like, oh, I can go faster. And she's like, going faster.
Well, I'm glad she did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. At this point, I will obviously like, I'm like, okay, let me stop you here. We're about to go into our next race. So again, we're ahead. I actually don't know the score, but whatever, we'll come in here in a second. We were ahead. Then at this point, I asked Nick Havich, he's still an owner of their team, but also he was a previous year's coach. I was like, hey, do I throw the flag on Jack and Jill?
And he was like, no, I never throw a bonus flag ever.
Dude, like, that's what I was expecting him to say. Like, literally, that's what I was expecting. Because I told you everybody from like weeks in advance, I'm gonna throw the flag on this Jack and Jill. Like, I don't think nobody can beat us at this Jack and Jill. We're gonna throw the flag on this one. Like, we're good. We're gonna throw the flag. So then we are ahead by a decent amount at this point. Yeah. So I'm like questioning my thinking, and then I'm asking him, thinking like he's gonna tell me not to do it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that's the answer I want to think on.
Yeah, like like so he's like, oh no. So then he's like, no, you definitely should do it. I'm like, you never threw.
Wait a second.
Yeah. You never threw a flag.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I thought about it a little bit, and then I decided to throw the flag.
And then you sent everyone into cardiac arrest. Actually, not you. The rest of us did.
Yeah. And then, and right now you can see it's 12-8, which is still manageable. Still, they can come back easily.
Yeah.
So when Nick told me, I obviously didn't throw the flag right away. I let it sit in. I kept thinking about it and things like that. And then the aces are very good in triads. Yeah. They're
That's what I was nervous about, because I was like, we don't have this yet. I was like, we still have two triads that we are not historically very good at.
Very good at. And it's also the aces' best races. Like, I know they're usually like a strong team, but they're really practiced and they really communicate between each other. Mm-hmm. And the triads are a lot of that. Like practice, make sure where we do the switches and things like that. So their best races are triads. Like they rarely lose those races. So I was like, I need to bank more points before we get into the triads. So that's why I also then at the end up throwing the flag, and then you guys almost gave me a heart attack. So Sam goes in here like flying. I was like, oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's like flying. But then the first 2 reps, they didn't count.
His first
Like,
2?
Yeah. The ref completely missed him. Like if we go again, we can do the math.
Yeah, but
well, we can start if you want to, but
that's no, it's okay. We don't have to. You don't have to back up. I believe you. But that's unsurprising, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it was because he went so fast. Then he's like,
Yeah.
he started counting like after, and I have done this, and then,
yeah.
Anyways, but
I could see the first one not counting because he kind of like jumped straight into a chin up, but the second one not counting is a little wild. But whatever.
But it wasn't like he was no repping. I just thought he was just caught off
didn't
guard.
count him. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he just started counting after.
Yeah.
Then David kept getting here, no rep, and I was like, that's 7. I was like, no, that's 9 or something. I don't remember what I was saying. But anyways, so we had to do an extra 2 reps on here as well. So we were behind, but I was not worried. I knew that this race was won or lost on the LSIT Met Ball. But here is when I got worried.
Yep.
So Chelsea thought that there's 2 tapes. There's a yellow tape or orange tape.
Orange and a blue. Yep.
Yeah. So they asked the ref, but no, they didn't ask one of the head ref or the ones that were going to be counting that. They asked the line referee with the horn. They don't know what's going on.
They don't know.
There. So they were like, they told them orange tape.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she went to the orange tape. So it was not like she missed anything. She just
No, yeah.
And that's when I got really, really scared.
Yeah, because then that's a whole extra rep she has to do, and those aren't easy reps. Those are.
And then Sam here, he also gets no rep
because his hips.
Kind of like at the end, kind of came down a little bit, which is true. And then I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Here you go. David Blad again for the save. And he gets the reps. He leaves. I was like, no,
go back. And that's frustrating because that's another one that we won. Like thankfully we did, but we won because they like were making mistakes and failing reps too. So like similar with Mirror, like we won kind of because we executed, but mostly because they messed up.
Yeah, it's for sure. So this one, I was very confident going in, and I knew that those LSIT Met balls are like a game changer for most people. And the 5, if you don't have as many people that can do them, once you do one, the second one is always very hard. And then if you go for a third one, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
For some people. So the game plan was always to do, ideally was Q to start 2, Chelsea to do 1, and then Sam to do 2. That was our game plan in there. And then Sam was going to be, if he only does 1, then he just get out. And then Chelsea was going to do another one. If not, David was going to finish it up.
Yeah.
That was our game plan. But once we started getting no reps on David, Chelsea had to do 2, and then we got Q to do 1 LSIT to handstand, and that's when we kind of went to a game plan. But it was still good. I was still happy until Chelsea touched the orange tape and then came down, and now I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, I know she didn't feel like I was like, why? So that's when I got really scared. Because this could have ended up really bad. Because if they would have won that race, they take our point. So they take 3 points, and it would have brought it right back.
Puts it right back into
So I think we got really lucky on this one.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's also, we are the SWFL Sharks.
Yes, the SWFL Sharks.
So next race is going to be the triad female here, and I have actually let me do this in here. So see if I hold on. Commercial.
They liked Q's better than mine. What a natural. That shirt fits him so well.
Yeah. So quick shout out to one of our sponsors. Thank you so much to Experience Health and Wellness Center here in Cape Coral, and Dr. Omar Clark. Also, our other sponsors now that we're talking about sponsor T-Fiber and UBS. So we appreciate you guys so much. We couldn't do our season without you guys. So appreciate you. That treatment that Q was getting, you got it as well, Val, right?
I did, yeah.
And what you thought about it?
It was really cool because it's one of the few like types of therapies where you kind of feel it right away or like in the same day. So I got it done on my back, and it definitely, like, I was having more like sharp pains and things like that, some like nerve irritations, and it was almost like immediately relieved. It wasn't super severe. So it wasn't like a whole bunch of pain that I had to take away, but you definitely feel those effects right away, which is really, really cool and uncommon for certain types of like pain management.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, the same thing that Q said. So soft weight therapy. If you are in the Southwest Florida area, make sure you check them out. Here on Next Race, we got our triad female. We actually changed the game plan right before this match on this. So we were going to have people switching and forth between the first three movement, but then we end up saying, hey, let's just go through it. The first three ladies that go out, they're going to also do they're going to pull the sled, do the jump ropes, and the box, burpee box overs. What did that feel like? Was it bad? Was it like, what were you feeling?
No, that was super doable, that part. Thankfully, I wasn't going right into the rope climbs after the burpee box jump overs. Sammy and Chelsea were troopers for that, because that's the hard part, is that transition from your heart rate being really high to then having to like climb up the rope. But I got to go take a quick little break. But the sled was kind of like a non-factor. And then you get into the jump rope, and that's just like getting the heart rate up a little bit. But again, like, it wasn't super challenging. But these, when you're trying to like move them quickly and in sync and make sure that like you're not making mistakes, you don't have to do extra reps and things like that. Those were definitely like where the triad started.
Yeah. And then we obviously save our two tall ladies and best rope climbers to kind of do the full rope climbs to be fresh. So I think that game plan pay out very well. Because watch Sydney, and especially Breezy, how her rope climbs, how fast they are. You can see like the aces already have a rope climb down, and Breezy just goes and just
jumps and gets those feet up so high.
It's crazy, like, so fast. Same thing with Sydney, and obviously Sammy being a trooper. And then Breezy here realizes that Chelsea's struggling, so she goes, cleans it up, and then it works perfectly because Breezy's also super fast with the farmer's carry, so she could be the last one and be really good here. So we had the fastest time of the day, so I was very happy that we changed the game plan and how you guys executed. Like, to me, it was flawless.
That was a super good call. Like, the transitions in the beginning weren't necessary, especially with us having two tall and fresh girls coming in for the rope climbs. So I think that ended up working out really, really well.
Then Breezy fell down, and she actually had a pretty bad bruise out of this. I didn't realize she actually hit anything because I caught her, and I was like, at least I was here to catch her. But then she sent me a picture, and she had like really bad bruised knee.
That's the second time she's rocked that same spot on her knee, because she did it on the yoke that one year. You remember?
Oh, that's true.
The D-ball over the yoke, and she messed up that same spot on her, like, between her shin and her knee.
Put like chin guards and like,
get her some bubble wrap on her legs.
All right. So again, normally I have depends. Ladies triad we don't okay, but it can go either way.
Hit or miss
So
for sure.
yeah, but then going against the aces, which they actually have the second fastest time of the day, so they did very, very well too. It would just kind of, again, matters of seconds. So super extreme, proud of the way that our ladies kind of rocked that in there.
Yeah.
It's
and
a cool. Yeah, go for it.
They had us on the burpee box jump overs.
Mhm.
I think they finished a little bit faster than us. So being able to like have two people to get to those ropes fresh and like do them so fast was clutch.
Yeah, that's what I think was the difference. So next race is going to be the triad male. We never win triad males. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying never. We have, but it's rare.
Super rarely. I don't think
super rare. This is not one of our strong suit. But this year, I thought that we had like a team where we can make that a change. On this race, this is actually Roderick. So he's been fresh. Roderick is a fresh person in here that hasn't played any no other match. Like this is his first race. So we kind of made him make him like push, and then he got really tired. But anyways, so we went with the same game plan as the ladies. So we first three guys are gonna do the whole thing, the first three movements, and then Roderick, since he was the fresh one, we said, hey, you stay and do the rope climbs.
Yeah.
So I thought it worked fine. Then we're gonna have Sam and David fresh to do the rope climbs because they're really fast at that. And I thought it worked out well. And if you can pay attention, we were ahead going into like we even finished the rope climbs at the same time, but there was a miscommunication at the end. And yeah, we'll talk about it once it gets there. But
yeah,
they moved really well. Even the ladies do. Like we didn't practice this burpee box at all. In here you have Guillo, who doesn't speak English at all. Doing them with them, so they really not even saying anything. So they're just moving, and they're moving really, really well, really fast. So I was happy.
Yeah.
All right. Then from here, that is FY. That's a 20-pound weight vest. The ladies was 14 in there. So it's a cool new wrinkle on this trial. It's never done before. So in here, Roderick, obviously, he stays. He's going to start the rope climbs before, but we knew it was going to take longer for him to do them than the fresh guys. So, I mean, everything's going as planned right now. So good. He was going to do 2, and then the other 2 guys were going to clean it up for him. So, like I was happy here. So it doesn't matter if he's struggling. I just need you to do 2 by the time they're done with their 4.
Yep.
That's what it happened. They're about to get one more, and then they both come in, and then David moves, gets one. Then Chappie, I'll tell him to go back and be ready for the farmer's walk, and then Sam goes and gets one. You can see they aces are in the same spot as well.
Yep.
We have one, and we have one. The big mistake here was that Roderick didn't realize that he also needed to do the farmer's carry. So he was from the back, like laying down. And I go in there, like, hey, please.
I know. We're like, where's Roderick?
So there was a miscommunication there. He was like in the back, almost sitting down already. I'm like, Roderick, hey, can you please pick this sort of things and move it across the finish line?
Oh my goodness.
So it was, yeah. So little story on that one. But Roderick did, the goal for him was to die there, and he did.
Yeah, he sure did.
Sure did. That was a goal. That's a tougher.
Yeah.
And if you are newer to the grid or newer to grid and watching grid, you're gonna realize that triad is the one that gets everybody, because that's the toughest race, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I would say aside from that, like execution wise, that's the best our guys have looked on a triad. So to start the season off with that type of plan and execution on that male triad is like really good for us. Yeah,
like I thought we could have won, especially because they had a no rep. They had to go back.
On their ropes?
No, watch this. Maybe this one is good. Maybe here. Let's see if it happens in here. So you see how he has to go back because he went before the last.
The
so
guy
yeah,
he did that last year twice at the playoffs.
So only 3 active players can be on the grid at the same time. So the 3 guys that were waiting with the farmer's carry win, and the other guy was still not finished the cross line, so they brought him back. So we definitely had a chance.
Yeah.
Obviously, we just miscommunication.
Yeah.
So now our last race, which is sprint relay. At this point, we have technically won the match. There's no way for them to not win at all. So this is kind of all right. Sorry, go. So yeah, sprint relay. Last race, you can see this 18 to 12. This race is worth 3 points, and even if they threw the flag, it's worth 4 points. So there's no way that we could have lost this match at this point. So, but my goal, my first year as a coach, as well, I was like, let's stick with it, finish strong, follow, do what you're supposed to do. There's just keep pushing, because at the end of the season, if we are tied with another team or something like that, we need any points that we can get, because that's what we call the point differential. That if the teams are tied to who goes to the playoffs, it decided on those points. So stick with it. So I thought, again, everybody executed very well. We started with Chappie, and there were clusters at 155, and he moves so fast. So fast. So he's the fastest to me at squatting in the league, I think. But when it comes to moderate to not so heavyweight. So if you put like 185 to 205 in here, he's not the fastest.
Yeah.
But once it's 155 or lower, he'll be flying. Like nobody can catch him.
Yeah, it just explodes out of the bottom and gets to the bottom so fast.
So fast, yeah. This point, we got aerials. Jasmine again, I'm sorry, I just pointed out, but she impressed me doing those aerials. And then got Chelsea killing as well. New movement, and I thought it was a cool movement. You thought, what you thought of the aerials? I thought it would look cool. I thought it was like a plus.
Yeah, it was different. I think it was risky adding them in after, because they added them in after all the signing and stuff was closed, right? So we're
that's true.
They were kind of just banking on people hopefully having someone on their team that could do them, which is good for us because you signed 94 gymnasts to our team. But but other teams, if they didn't sign any former gymnasts, you weren't going to learn how to do an aerial in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Unless you're a freak athlete. But
I'm gonna point. I had to bring it back a little bit to point something out. So the sled in here, is a Valor Fitness sled. It has a setting where you kind of I think it's go through 1 through 8 or something like that. So it was at 8 with some weights on top. In here, if you have your arms bent, you didn't get it was a no rep. So you can see here that his arms are bent. But what I wanted you to point out is here. Watch this. Watch this guy over here. This guy. After this, I started calling him the no rep king or no rep. It's like no rep. If you don't know, this is Concepcion. He's one of our owners as well. Funny thing in here is that he told me from the beginning, it's I'm just gonna be behind the scenes. When the match goes, I'm gonna be with the with the fans, so I'm not gonna be.
He's I don't know what's going on.
What's going on? I'm not gonna be involved at all that stuff. And then he got so involved in it, which is ridiculous on every race. And I was like, oh, you've been bit.
Yep. Everyone says that. They're I'm just gonna for fun. I'm not gonna get too into it.
And then he got like calling no reps and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I was just dying laughing when I saw, obviously at that moment, I didn't realize it until I
That's
saw
so
the
funny.
replay.
Everybody just
Yeah.
pointing.
Because he's no rep, because his arms are bent.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, look at that.
I'm so thankful for like the people on our team that do that, because I am not that person. Like in match,
Yeah.
I am so like tunnel vision. I'm just focused on like what I'm doing, and I don't look at the other team at all. So I'm so thankful for like the other people on our team that pay attention to what the other team is doing.
Cool. Yeah. The other things, yeah, Sam did those so fast as well.
So fast.
Like I was just impressed how our team look, how they all play together, how nobody brought their egos in at all. They did their job, and that was it. Like if you play one race or play multiple, or if you normally did this movements on, because we have few us, there's videos about it that I stole people from other people from other teams. Like
Oh yeah,
they
we've all
used to,
seen it.
yeah, they all normally will play like the whole match or something like that, or things like that. And again, super proud of them. So way that they just pretty much didn't question what I game plan that I had coming in. They just executed it, and that was it. Like there was no feedback. It was like, I should have done this, should have done nothing. Like they were all, again, so proud. Like made it so much easier on me.
Yeah, and I think we like capitalized really well on people's strength, especially in like the new elements that were included, being like these are people for those people that either can't do those or aren't as fast at those. Like you're going to fill holes other places, and everyone was just like, "Yep, like that's my job. Gonna do that wherever you need me," kind of thing.
Yeah, like for a good example is Kristen Crenshaw. She was actually hurt, so she couldn't squat in here, which she would have been very good for this partner forward and mirror, because she's a very good squatter. But she was hurt. So she literally on this match just did 10 ground to overhead on the kettlebells, and she didn't even flinch about like I should do anything. Like you can see her at the end, she was even more happier than people, like so proud. Again, I appreciate it so much that everybody would just kind of like, let's just get this done and take the W by any means necessary.
Yeah.
And then Guido here closing it out. Again, to me, this is like a statement, like from him to me, to our team. Like, hey, I'm part of the team. I've learned this sport. I put the effort to kind of ask questions, things like that. And I think all of you, like at the beginning, we all were worried about he doesn't speak English. And some people told me, texted me, like, how are we going to do with Guido? Like, how are we going to do with him? I was like, hey,
we're going to figure it out.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I kind of like closing it like that. It was kind of like a little, stamp. I'm like, all right, we're good. He's going to be good. We're going to communicate. Yeah. That was our match. Again, from a coaching standpoint, I was extremely happy. Again, I'll keep saying it, the way that everyone executed, how our team looked, how when we have mistakes, nobody really pointed fingers or anything like that. It's like, hey, who's next? They just came up and figured it out.
Yep.
And yeah, so what do you think? Like you've been for us with the Sharks for 3 or 4 years now? 4?
I can't remember. Part of me wants to say this is my 4th season.
I think it's 4. Yeah, it is 4.
But there's so many videos that I'm always happy. I was really happy with how everything went. All smiles.
All smiles.
No, that was a really good way for us to start the season. I think that gave us a really big confidence boost in terms of like, okay, like we've got the talent on our team, like we can execute. Everyone just needs to like do their jobs, and they need to practice, and we need to be prepared when we go into the matches. But going into that and beating the Aces by a lot, who are last year's champions and a really, really good team, that kind of proved to us like, okay, take note of like the mistakes that we did make. How can we make them better but like we're doing the thing. So as long as we continue to do that, and we do that with every team and not just last year's champions, and we treat every team like it's a threat, because every team has good players now, like then I think we'll have a really, really good season. And I think that set the tone for us really well, especially coming in together, like you said, people that haven't ever met before, like meeting that day for the first time. So now getting into it, and everyone's kind of like feeling like a group and feeling like a team. So I'm excited what the rest of the season is going to look like for us.
Couldn't say any better. Super excited too. We'll wrap it up. Again, proud of our team for executing, especially since we didn't practice and everybody kept asking, well, the practice. Like, hey, again, we'll see. I think it's going to work out, but we'll see. It's all in theory now.
Yeah, like it is a team sport, but as long as you do your job and you're honest about what you can do, then you don't really need to like practice together. It's not like soccer or football where like you need to know where the person's going to be to pass to them and things like that. Like as long as everyone is like does the job that they're supposed to do and they're honest about what they can do, and it like ends up your game plan works out, then you don't really need to practice in person. Like, would it be nice to kind of like build that cohesion and stuff like that? Like, yeah, but you don't need to do that to be really good.
Yeah, 100% agree. So anyways, we'll wrap it up. That's the Grit 360 breakdown. Appreciate our sponsors, T5er, Experience Health and Wellness Center, UBS. Again, watch us on August 17, our next match. And thank you, everybody, for watching. And follow us on social media and subscribe to our new YouTube channel.
Yeah.
See you guys.